What's up, everybody? We are back at Around the Mat. I am the PJ North, at least in my own mind. If you're joining us live on Twitch, thank you for checking us out again. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you. Hit that like and subscribe button. It's super easy. There's a button right here in the video. Man, we're back. Week 8. It's been 2 months I've been doing this. I'm super pumped to continuing on. We are on the road to WrestleMania. And we're going to do it all over again this week with two new folks. Well, one new folk and one brother. So with that being said, without further ado, let me bring in the boys from Filth Bomb Wrestling. In the bottom left, this time we've got Brothers Tanc. Johnny Tanc, what's good, man? Thanks for joining us, dude.
Oh, thank you for having me, man. This is awesome.
Hell yeah, I love that. And my man back again, the other member of the Card Foundation, Filth Bomb Wrestling, Danny Tanc. What's up, baby?
Yes, sir. The Woody Page of Around the Mat.
You know what? That's a pretty good one. See, I love that. You're getting that. Woody Page, I'll give you that.
There you go.
I'm trying to think of who my favorite was back then. I was always like, I really just loved I just loved the whole thing, actually, really, in reality, right? The atmosphere. I forget the older woman who worked in Chicago who was really good. She was always like kind of feisty, but Woody always had the best. I wish I had like a board. Maybe I'll get like a whiteboard with some sayings behind it.
Yeah.
With like the best wrestling catchphrases each week. Maybe we'll do that. That'll be good.
Yeah, I mean, our era was like him, J.A. Adonde was on all the time.
J.A. Adonde was.
I'm trying to think of who. There was two mainstreams. It was Woody Page, and there was another one that was always on like almost every week.
Yeah. Damn, who was now that I'm that's gonna bother me. Maybe I'll bring that. Insert famous Around the Mat clip on the YouTube video here for everybody. If you're watching live on Twitch, sorry you won't see it, but man, we're back again. Again, we're on the road to WrestleMania. I was on the Card Foundation pod this week. I got to talk some wrestling trading cards with the boys, and they were gracious enough to join me this week to talk a little wrestling as we're on the road to WrestleMania. But Johnny Tanc, man, you're new to the thing. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I obviously you're an Islanders fan, which is painful enough, I can imagine. So
It's a rough time right now, but we're making a push for the playoffs, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
who's your favorite all-time Islander?
Ooh, good question. Chris Osgood.
Okay, wow.
From back in the day.
Yeah, that's a deep cut.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that was like my goalie growing up when I was a kid. When I first got into hockey, that was like my guy, and I was kind of stuck with
Yeah, it's been it's tough. I grew up in Columbus, so we had hockey in '98. But I wasn't a huge Blue Jackets fan. My brother loved hockey, and he was a Pittsburgh fan as a kid. But I grew up once I moved to Nashville. I told the story before. When I moved to Nashville, Rick Nash moved a week before I did, and I knew him from when I worked at Nordstrom. And I was a huge Rick Nash. Rick Nash. I'm such an idiot. Now I'm losing my mind. God, what is wrong with me? Man, I feel like the Celsius is getting to my brain cells. Nonetheless, point being, someone moved from Columbus to Nashville. Now I cheer for the Preds. We had a good that Stanley Cup run was pretty cool. I really got into it during that time. But the Preds games are like the most fun thing. Is an Islanders game a good time? Because I feel like the Preds game is like top thing to do in Nashville.
Yeah, it's okay. When they're winning, the atmosphere is amazing. When they're not winning, it's like a cemetery in there.
They're in a new stadium too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I've been there a couple of years now, UBS Arena.
The UBS. Okay, right. Okay. I love that. Well, without further ado, we're going to talk some wrestling. I've got on my great Muda shirt. This is a separate one, man. I haven't shown this one yet. Big Muda guy. And I don't know why Danny just refuses to catch on and wear a wrestling tee every week.
It was every week. Well, this is the second one.
I guess Major League Baseball started today, so you felt like you're he's not even affiliated to a baseball team. It's just Major League Baseball.
No, well, it's the MLB NYC.
Oh, okay.
At least in New York City.
I love that. I did see all the Shohei Ohtani. We could talk for hours. Now that it's kind of like around the horn. We could talk for hours about the Shohei Ohtani deal. And just reading the things on the internet is what a time to be alive in baseball.
Good.
It's not looking good, is it?
No.
Yeah, it's not looking good. All right, well, we're going to talk some wrestling this week, and we're going to kick it off with, of course, what I felt like everybody's favorite segment was last week with The Rock, and The Rock sings the blues. So SmackDown was alive and well in Memphis. I didn't even get to make it. I mentioned in our wrestling chat that even I, who has a friend in the biz, could not get a ticket, even in the nosebleeds. Could not get a ticket. So Memphis was lit, I suppose. I thought The Rock, The Rock was doing the Rock thing, right? He was talking it. I felt like having War and Treaty there was kind of a cool addition too. That was kind of a neat piece, especially because they came out of the crowd. It felt like I was like, where did these guys come from? They just all of a sudden became. I do think The Rock's entrance music right now, and I said this in the chat too, is maybe the greatest entrance I've ever seen that WWE has produced. From the lighting to the transition of music was pretty not great on Friday, but like you got the gist of what they were trying to do. But however, the just the electricity, the way that is 1,000% box office production. That's the best thing that they've done production wise. So I thought that was really cool, and I enjoyed the segment. Otherwise, I turned off SmackDown afterwards. I just don't think they have anything going on really right now. I could look. I get the whole Logan Paul thing, and it's cool, but I don't. I just the rest of SmackDown felt like all right. We saw the best part here at this point. I would have saved that for the end if I'm being completely honest. But who am I? Right? I'm not booking the show, so that was kind of my opinion on it. But Johnny, your first time, or you're here for the first time. So what are your take on The Rock singing the blues in SmackDown?
It was a cool nostalgic throwback. I think every time The Rock has come back over the last few years, we've got accustomed to him doing some sort of concert, whether it's with Elias or back in the day when he first came back in the early 2010s or so. It was cool to bring it back, but I'm not digging the heel Rock character as much.
God, man, this is the Johnny we need in the chat right here, baby. My God, throw Johnny G out the window. This is the Johnny we need.
Yeah, Johnny Galea, man, that kid's a character.
So,
Yeah,
so you're not a heel fan. What's your? I mean, what would you prefer him do right now? Or are you happy that he's back at all, or you're just kind of like, all right, we get it?
yeah. I mean, it's cool for him to come back. The guy is an absolute legend, and anytime he wants to come and bring more faces to wrestling, and he still can bring so much. He's so good on the mic. We'll see how he is in the ring. Might be some rust there, but it's The Rock. He's one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah,
I like The Rock when he's out there, getting the fans energized. Everyone's cheering for him, and they're saying his catchphrases and everything. And when he's got fans booing him as a heel, and it just doesn't hit the same.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Danny, what about you, man? What was your take on Friday?
Yeah, I mean, I love the segment. I love that he just went for Cody's jugular with, talking about his mom, and I love when The Rock does the crybaby voice. That kills me every single
He's
time.
been doing that forever, right? Too. That's just like his. That's his like his classic Rocky thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the only thing I wasn't crazy about was how much of a tweener he was. I was surprised that usually The Rock has been getting that kind of sour reaction when he's bringing up Cody.
Yeah,
Towards the end of when he finished singing, he was getting Rocky chants as he was kind of, shitting on Cody a little bit. So that kind of took me by surprise, and I think it was because he was kind of gassing Memphis up a bit. I
yeah. I
thought
think being a hometown guy, right, being a little bit of a homer, and his whole thing of like him talking about growing up there. And that's the only town really that he didn't shit on, right? That he's been at all the Smackdowns and stuff. So um, interested to see how that goes from there.
the John Morant comment killed me too as a basketball fan.
Dude, that made it on everything. The socials were ready. They had that on like every sports influencer site that there was. I felt like on Instagram they were all posting about that. I don't know how John Morant felt about it, but I would love to know. I wish I would have seen that take. Where was that take on ESPN the next day? Or maybe like after Ja could hit like a three and then he'd rock bottom somebody. Maybe then he's just like throwing shots at him. Maybe I don't know. The Rock trying to build something for that. But I thought otherwise. I mean, what was your guys' take? Did you guys watch the rest of SmackDown realistically?
No,
Yeah, I didn't either. For me, and that's a weird. Again, Friday nights or whatever. If you don't go out, you're kind of home, and that's what's up. But I just felt like, all right, that was what I came to see. I want Randy Orton and that stuff to be a bigger deal, but Randy Orton, KO, and Logan Paul makes zero sense to me. Like the KO Logan Paul thing, why is that not over? Um, I don't know. That part, it just is what it is. I do like Corey Graves, and I like, um, and I like Wade Barrett on announcing, but I just feel like I don't know, man. It just was weird. I don't know. I didn't feel like I loved it.
Raw's been the better production, the better quality show.
Yeah, and even at 3 hours long, I've been able to basically make my way through it. right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. I mean, the balance of what they're doing right now has been very nice. Like they're focusing on their key players,
Yeah.
but they're doing a nice job of kind of spreading the love and making sure that everyone gets highlighted.
Yep.
Like you said, SmackDown, it's kind of like, KO and Randy Orton, they're just using them to make sure they get a WrestleMania match in a way. It's
Sure.
so important
Yeah.
that they're having this triple threat.
Yeah. I would have loved to seen what the dark match was. SmackDown. I always like to see who comes out. Because Cody normally worked those for like the first like 6 months leading up to Mania. He was at every SmackDown for for this past year. So interested to see what happens. I am excited the Jay and Jimmy thing. I didn't know what the segment was because I didn't see it, but obviously we want brother versus brother at Mania. Maybe you guys can face off at Mania too. I don't know. I'm in. We get that thing. We get that thing going.
You throw PJ on the pole match, winner gets to be permanently on the show.
There it is. Oh, that's good. We've got so many matches at Tailgate Mania this year. Me and McMahon, we're going 1-on-1 in the main event, and honestly, I just can't wait to end that guy's career. Right, career versus career. We'll see what happens. Nonetheless, topic number 2. Moving along. And as I thought this was one of my better titles. Thank you. Pat myself on the back. Barry Horowitz. Chef Cody Cooked The Rock. And look, I'm a Cody guy, but I'm not going to kick this one off. Johnny, I'm going to let you kick this one off. What were your thoughts Monday? Raw as a whole if you want, but really just the Cody segment. What was your thought?
I thought Cody was great, and it's a side of Cody that I do enjoy seeing, because for so long I feel like we got like the EVP Cody and the corporate Cody and the super mega face Cody. Now we're getting a little bit, we're getting down and deep with some of the stuff that he was saying and, going after The Rock and cursing. He called him a bitch a couple of times.
Yeah.
Like, damn, this is the Cody I've been waiting for. Kind of a little bit of a throwback to like New Japan days when he was in Bullet Club and
Yeah.
he was kind of a dick. And it was like, that's a great side of Cody when he's able to just be more of himself and be more of a heel, or heel in the sense of
No, I get it. Yeah.
um, I love it. I love the way he's been on the mic. I love this build up. I really think that it's been
Man.
simmering. It's been a great run to Mania. It feels like it means something. Now you're getting personal with his family and everything else, and the story itself, just finishing the story was good enough, I think. Now bringing in The Rock and adding this like anger dynamic.
Yeah. This is as good as I've seen it build, man. And everybody talks about Rock Austin, but it doesn't it kind of feel like at that point where we're at now, even somehow The Rock is involved. And, I saw somebody comment that they're like, oh, why isn't he talking about Roman more? And I'm like, I don't even really give a shit at this point. Like, I just like the whole thing. I'm here for the whole deal now. We've done built up Saturday to be that thing. Danny, what about you, man? What were your thoughts on Monday?
Yeah, I thought it hit the nail on the head, and I got to give my kudos once again on the show to Michael Cole for doing a great job of kind of guiding through with some of the questions that were asked. And I love that they put a focus on trusting Seth Rollins because at the end of the day, you don't know what's going to happen that Saturday night. Is he going to turn on him? Is he actually going to help Cody try to defeat them so that way Cody has a fair advantage going into Sunday? I think in the back of a lot of fans' minds, it's being downplayed right now, but it needs to be on the forefront that Seth could easily screw this and botch this whole thing. And then who knows? Maybe we go to Sunday, Cody loses twice. It could happen. I mean, I don't think anyone thought last year Cody was going to lose.
Yeah.
So
I hate to give you a point on that, but man, that's the way that they're storytelling. I agree. I mean, I don't want, look, in my opinion, Cody on top all day long. He's going to win. Honestly, I think they win Saturday. I don't even think they stack the cards against him. And I think we finally get to a point where we see Roman can't hang as a wrestler, as a champ, finally, and he goes away. Maybe they send him to Japan to learn a new hold. Fresh coat of paint. Get him out of here. I don't know, but like, what I mean? Right? I just think that, for me, like I said, I thought the segment was unbelievable. I thought, Fred was freaking out about the Cody Cutter in the dress shoes. Look, I'm here for it, dog. If that's the only thing he does physical, he's able to get away with it. I'm cool with it. I thought that was amazing. I thought he was just like absolutely cooking. Just he was on, he is peak. And some people compared it to the Chris Jericho one and all that stuff, and it's like how are you every Rock promo has been the same Rock promo for 25 years, 26 years. What do you mean? You're talking about him using the Carney succubus? Okay, well maybe that's his catchphrase. The Rock been saying if you smell the Rock is cooking for 27 years. We never said shit about that. So for me, that all that to be said, like I said, I try to not. I do take in some of what people say online, but I don't really care. I thought it was amazing. I think Cody right now, and like you said, Michael Cole. My favorite part is I don't did you see? I may have shared it today in the chat. The Michael Cole during the Ricochet match where Michael Cole and Pat McAfee are talking about Puma, right? They're talking about Pumas or whatever, and they are losing their shit. There's like a long silence, and then they go into the video where they're during break, and he's like talking to Pat. He's like, "Man, I was about to lose." He's like, "I can't believe you reacted that way." I was like, "Damn, this is the shit I want to see." Like, this is a so much cooler presentation of WWE right now, and I don't know if that's because Vince McMahon's gone or whatever, or maybe just the merger with UFC and UFC's. I don't watch UFC, so I don't know if their presentation is similar, but I just think overall, man, it is like I said, and I've said this time and time again, it's as hot as it's ever been. As long as I've been a wrestling fan, I've never seen it been this hot. So I don't know. That's
Great addition. I was so happy to see that he came onto the team because he just adds a dynamic that I think Michael Cole is always going to be more of that technical wrestling. He calls out the moves, he does this, but like Pat McAfee jumping on the desk and doing the yeet,
yeah,
I mean that it's entertaining. He's so good. And
that's what I think it is. I think it's an entertaining factor.
yeah, and it's added something that I think has been missing from the commentary for a long time. And we grew up with JR and the King, and it nothing got better than that.
Right.
And then there was a lull for a while, and I think Michael Cole really was looking for that guy to kind of balance him evenly, and I
Yeah.
think they finally got it with Pat.
Yeah, I think so too. I agree with that. What, Danny, are you a big Pat McAfee guy too?
I am, yeah. I just think you got to start resonating with younger fans too. Like he's featured all over ESPN and College Game Day. The old heads they might not like it because it's a little different than what they're used to. They're more
Sure.
traditional, but you got to make the shows fun. You got to be able to attract all different types of audiences. So if you could learn football fans to maybe watch wrestling because he's on, or it just makes things loose or funny. It adds it much better to what Michael Cole already brings to the table.
That's what I think it is. Is it just expands Michael Cole's role as a team, as a team guy, what he's done. Like he's said it multiple times too, where he's like he's reinvigorated since Pat's joined the team. So I think it's really good, man. I'm excited. Like I said, Raw is watchable now. There's not that lull and stuff like that where it used to be. It's been pretty good. So I'm interested to see where we go from here. It can only continue to go up for a while. I mean, I'm going to be a wrestling fan for.
I miss on SmackDown more Ronaldo.
Yeah, Morrow was unbelievable. Man, I wish he wouldn't have felt. I wish he wouldn't have dealt with his demons. Because I think he had. He's being bullied constantly, and I don't think working with JBL was really great for him, right? Too that stuff, and you hear things like that. We don't know the story, of course, but was there anybody better than Mamma Mia on NXT, man? God, dude, the black and gold brand was on fire. Whew.
Yeah.
And that was it. And that was like real wrestling. The whole that's what it was the combination of everything. They had great entrance music, great production, great matches. Like that is why I love pro wrestling, right? And it's like, damn, the Raw kind of starting to feel like that. And SmackDown will get there. I don't know that Corey Graves and Wade Barrett are the best combination. Not that it takes away from me, but I just don't know if that's the right thing. But I do think the story of the Bloodline and Cody is overtaking so much on SmackDown that it's hard to build around anything else right now. So we'll see what happens. All right, as we kick it off again here next round, it's AEW Dynamite. Last night was a interesting episode with a 3-hour draw, right, of it, but they treated it like two separate shows. When I was watching, I thought I was going to have to wait till the end of Rampage to see Edge and Christian. I thought that was kind of weird. That seems like a weird production thing for me. Like, why wouldn't you just call it a 3-hour Dynamite and say Rampage is off air? I don't get that at all. I just other than they're trying to get everybody in, right? Because then that's when Magic goes down there and works on the microphone and does the commentary and all. I don't know. It's super weird. Some of the stuff they do just makes zero sense to me, and I don't work in the business, so I'm just kind of like, okay, it's kind of strange. But Okada, The Rainmaker hath arrived. By God, there is a rain. I didn't think it was going to end it. I thought that they were going to go like full King's Road, where they have to hit multiple finishers. I thought that's really what was going to happen, but they stuck with the American thing because that's the one difference that Japanese wrestlers, when they come over, they have to have a move. If their move wasn't a finisher in Japan, or maybe it was, here it only takes one, right? And so that's a big difference. And so when he hit the first one, I was like, oh, Eddie's gonna kick out, and they didn't kick out, and I was like, let's freaking go, man. So I was a huge fan of Dynamite last night. I thought it was really good. Cope versus Christian was really cool. That finish, I don't know that I've seen that finish done that way. With the I Quit, I thought that was really cool. I'm not super big into like the deathmatch thing, so like the nails and all that stuff were like whatever, but there's a pretty cool finish to whack him in the dick first with it, and then threaten to hit him in the head, and that was kind of cool. So all in all, Dynamite is on the way up. Will Ospreay on the microphone, man.
Yes, bro.
All day, every day. Guy is hype. I'm here for it, and I think that's a cool. I think the best thing they did was probably put the Young Bucks with Okada, because Okada doesn't have to talk, and when he does talk, he talked in Japanese, and then of course he reiterated in English, but he doesn't have to say multiple things in English, which I'm cool with. I love that part of it. The same thing that I wish that they would do with the same thing that they've done, I should say, with Shin. I don't need him to speak English because his timing's just let him speak Japanese. Let's call it good. You know what I mean? And so I thought that was cool. So I thought Dynamite was a really, really quality episode last night. I'm interested to see kind of where it goes, especially with Dynasty coming up. Johnny, what about you, man? Are you? I guess I don't know. Are you a big AEW fan, or do you watch it?
So I've been critical of AEW as of late on our show on the Car Foundation Pod. I've been catching a lot of heat with my takes on AEW over the last, I'd say, 6 months.
Sure.
I was as diehard as it got. I think. I mean, I didn't miss a week. I watched every week. I was staying in touch with everything since the beginning.
Sure.
And I felt like with the whole devil thing, and it started to take a little bit of a turn that I wasn't crazy about. MJF obviously going down didn't really help anything.
Sure.
But I've been critical about Samoa Joe having the belt and everything. But
Oh, so you're not a big Samoa Joe guy having the title?
no,
Okay.
I think you have a lot of good young talent in that company that could have the belt right now,
Yeah.
and it doesn't need to be on a veteran like that.
You and your brother share that sentiment. Wild. Me and my brother don't agree on much, so that's the fact that you guys agree on both that a top wrestler is not the guy. It's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, there's other guys I'd like to see with the belt, but I think lately, the last couple of weeks has been on an upward trajectory. I think getting Okada was massive. Obviously, Mercedes as well. Two just huge names, and I was hoping they were going to do the right thing with them. Anyone could bring an Okada,
Right.
but if you stick them in dark matches or you put them on Rampage or whatever on a Friday night wrestling nobody, then what good is it? Okada's literally the best in the world, and I love that they brought him in. Eddie Kingston it was a great match.
It was a cool match.
Finisher.
Yeah.
I was expecting the same thing. I was expecting the 45-minute, 15 Rainmakers, or just to kind of.
I think that all that does is strengthen him, right? That's what they were smart about it. They were like, we have to put this move at the top, strengthen him, and let's do that. My one thing that's weird is I just think him being Continental Champion is. I don't really get the titles. They got way too many belts. We talked about that, right? I wish that they'd just put him right on top and beat Samoa Joe if you were going to do it, rather than let's give him the Intercontinental title thing. Whatever. But I'm still happy that I get to see the Rainmaker every week. So it doesn't. I'm like, whatever. I'll take it. It is what it is. Yep. Danny, what about you, man? Did you catch it last night?
Yeah, I thought it was a really solid show, top to bottom. I'd give it a B plus. Thought it was really good. And like Johnny said, I like that. It seems like AEW it's leaning towards catching that rhythm to start to be great again. I mean, for the past couple of weeks and months, it's been a little tough. And I think if they did have a healthy MJF and a healthy Adam Cole going at it, I think it would be really be right there with Monday Night Raw and having that kind of 1A 1B show going at it. But I think the match of the night was Edge and Christian, no doubt about it. I thought it was great. I like that Edge now has the title because I think with Edge's history in WWE being the legend that he is, he needs to be in the forefront of an AEW Dynamite program. He's got to be one of the top 3 guys that's pushed. I would say him, definitely Okada and Ospreay. Those are your three top guys right now. And Samoa Joe could be that kind of transitional champion that serves that role where, he feels important, but he doesn't have to steal the show like the other guys do. So
Yeah.
all around, I think it's going to be solid. I thought the street fight was a lot of fun too, with the girls out there.
Yeah, I saw the clips afterwards. I didn't watch Rampage after. Are you? Yeah, I didn't watch the. I skipped over that match, the street fight match, but um, I saw the clips online and it was cool. It was neat.
Yeah, Statlander was really solid. So
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of hers, and I think that she needs to get that pushback again. But
yeah. The thing, and even though we're out of time, we'll keep talking. I think the thing with AEW that I struggle with is the amount of people. I mean, it is WCW amount of people, and then they still use local talent. Like, why did Kevin Matthews come out? Like, why? I mean, I've seen KM wrestle forever, right? So it's like, but
yeah,
why, bro? Go out there and bury Serpentico. Go out there and bury Luke. You have a million people. Why are you still bringing in? That part of it I don't really get. And again, I'm not the booking guy, and I'm not saying, hey, good for everybody to get money, secure the bag. But that money will run out quicker the way they're doing that, and longevity doesn't really make a lot of sense for AEW, in my opinion. They have so many top guys that I could just build. Again, I'm not the head booker, but if I was, and of course I'm quarterbacking Monday morning quarterbacking, but like there's top guys where I could build a 2 hour show every week with the best people in the company. I don't need anyone else. And I can do it with like 12 or 15 of them. We don't need the others. If you really want to compete and you really want to be the alternative with that, you can do it with those guys. Like, I don't know. There's some weird stuff, which I agree, man. I hope that they get it around because, like I said, you don't want to see Will Ospreay or Mercedes or Okada or Danielson or Moxley or any of those guys go to the mid card or like if we're gonna be a mid card, make it the mid card as good as the top of the card. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't make it feel less than, and sometimes it feels less than. That's kind of my whole.
You said about WCW because that's like exactly what they did, and it's what led to their demise. In
Yeah,
the early days, you had Jericho out there every week, Dean Malenko, Chris Benoit, all
yeah,
these guys that were Rey Mysterio, Juventud Guerrera, and it was like, but they were putting on 5-star matches,
yeah,
and then they started getting a little too popular, and the big guys weren't too happy about it. So then you saw less of them,
yeah.
and you saw more of the the random whoever versus getting squashed by the Giant or Hogan.
Which is even okay if I like. That's where I'm at. I think the weird thing is like they have these, and now they've got this like hodgepodge faction thing all the time. And I love New Japan, but I am critical about Bullet Club. Bullet Club stopped being cool years ago. All the spin-offs should be completely separate. They're no longer Bullet Club House of Truth, Bullet Club Gold. We talked about that, right? I mean, it's like so annoying. I don't know. Frustrating about it, but nonetheless. All right. This is a new topic that I've come up with, and we're going to shorten this one a little bit here. Put 5 on the board. It's called What If. So, what if something were to happen, or what if something... But this week, because you guys are of the Card Foundation, I thought it would be fun to talk a little bit of memorabilia. So, if you had to choose, what is your favorite toy, figure, or card of the wrestling space for you?
man,
That's a good one, right? Yeah, so I thought that would be good. So I will kick it off because I am the host. So my favorite thing as a kid, and even to this day, is this pains me to say this, but the wrestling ring, the giant wrestling ring that originally was an LJN ring that they then kept as the BCA ring.
yep.
Right? I've had it since I was a little kid. I never got rid of it, and I've played with everything from GI Joes in there to LJNs to BCAs to Titantrons to TNA to ECW, WCW, Galoobs, the whole litany. I've had all of them, and so I still have it to this day. And that was my favorite as a kid, man. I loved the wrestling ring that was. I've never been able to replace it. Is expensive. It's been broken now, but yeah, I still have it. It's in pieces back here in my collection. But that's my favorite, man. I think I just all of my greatest memories of watching wrestling on VHS or on DVDs when that started to happen. And with my buddy who was a huge wrestling fan when we were in middle school, and we were kind of doing the E-Fed or the Fig Feds, right? As they talk about on Major Pod. But
Yep.
yeah, so that's mine, man. I think that was my favorite piece, my favorite toy as a kid. My favorite figure, however, is and this is actually what really pains me, is the Ken Shamrock BCA, the red and yellow, because he wasn't posed in a weird position where he couldn't do the other moves, and he was the most flexible to do the other moves. So he could do like the suplex, the he could do a splash, he could do a body slam. He was like the most. Him and Rocky Maivia had the same body scan basically, right? So they could both do that. That was my favorite one. Is the Ken Shamrock figure as a kid, and I still have it as well. So that's mine. Danny, what about you, man?
Yeah, man, it's tough because as much of a card guy as I am, I mean, my childhood was literally Bone Crunchers, so it's hard to not just lug in the Bone Crunchers all together into one shot.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's a good. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, my guy back in the day, getting into wrestling throughout the '90s into the 2000s was The Rock. So the Rocky Maivia rookie figure that
Oh,
was
I still got it too. The blue pant. Yeah, what a great fig with the ramen haircut, the ramen hair on top.
yes, yep. But I mean, it's just so nostalgic for me. It's even gotten to the point now. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna start my BCA autograph collection probably at WrestleCon. So I'm gonna go after all the vintage BCAs, leave them on card, and get some signed just to display to kind of it's nostalgic and take me back to my childhood a bit. But other than the figures, so I'm looking at my cards, which I have displayed. You can see
Yeah.
here all around me. I have probably one of the top 2 or 3 Dolph Ziggler collections
Yeah.
in cards in the world. So
Big Ziggler
that's my
guy. Big Zig guy.
massive.
BZE.
So
Big Zig energy.
yeah, his Topps Chrome 1 of 1
Oh,
is
you have a one
one
of
of the
one.
top cards that you can get. Oh, I have several Dolph Ziggler 1 of 1s.
Oh, wow. Okay. Damn.
Yep,
Big
that's my
DZ guy.
favorite.
Man, I wish they'd make a DZ BCA just for you so we could get it.
That'd be perfect.
Yeah, that'd be a great fig.
Great.
All right, what about you, Johnny? What about you, man?
So in terms of toys, I'm the same way. I'm a BCA guy, and I'm gonna have to go with the Bret Hart BCA, pink tights.
The ones with the hand where he had the long fingers, though? I feel like that one had like giant long fingers.
Yep,
And arms.
Yeah. Okay.
that was it. Purely nostalgic for me. And when I look at that figure, I just think my childhood.
Yeah.
Bret's my favorite of all time. That's a figure that I know we had multiples of, and I can even picture like the one I had as a kid, all beat up and scuffed, and the arms were flying around, and it was all because we played with them, And I just like look at that figure, and I think childhood in the '90s and everything. So I'm gonna go Bret Hart PCA.
Okay.
For cards, I'm gonna have to go the ECW Japanese card set from 1997.
This a real thing?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the ECW VHS tapes from Japan
Yeah.
had cards in them.
Do you have a
I
set?
think 6 of them or so,
Yeah.
and they were super rare, and they were the first like legit ECW trading cards.
Wow.
And
That's
ECW
really
is my
cool.
favorite promotion of all time, so
Okay.
that's I have to go with that.
Yeah, that's pretty. So, do you have the whole set of those?
No, they're
Oh.
super expensive.
Okay. All right. Well,
I'm working on it though.
I was about to say that was like anticlimactic. I thought he was gonna like whip out like a slab of them, and I was like, "This is awesome." What?
One day I will.
Okay. How many do you have of them right now?
Actually, I don't have any of them yet.
Okay. So you've just started to investigate into you knew about this existed, but you just started into that. Okay.
Honestly, they never pop up. So it's like when you see one pop up or someone has one for sale, they usually go pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So now I'm starting to I have some on my clock. I have some radar on my radar right now.
Yeah.
All right. I think I'm at the pull.
Is the set of those your grail, or do you have one card in that set that's the grail?
100%.
Whole set. Okay. Danny, do you have a grail card that you want?
Yeah, I need a 1998 Comic Images Rock Auto, which it's $1,000+ card. So
Okay.
that's at the
That's
top.
the Rock. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, this was a good one. I felt like that was a good nostalgic walk back through, man. I got all my Lucy's over here that are still in the box, and I haven't got those organized yet. So I thought about that today. Would be a fun one. All right. Well, this right here, I'm gonna showcase our scoreboard, handy dandy scoreboard. The good thing is no one knows the difference because the Brothers Tanc are both Filth Bomb Wrestling this week, but 24, 22, and 19, me in the back there unfortunately, but that's okay. We've got another new segment that I brought up a couple weeks ago. It's one of my favorites now. It's kind of been a fun time. I have a huge collection of WWF trivia cards that came from a board game that I don't remember where it is. Doesn't matter. I kept the cards. And so this is, and you call yourself. Danny asking me if I got a catchy tune. Yeah, dog, you know I already got it in there. It's actually a fun, sped up version of the Jeopardy one. So it's kind of fun. So, Johnny, you don't know how this works, but I pick a random trivia card out of the deck, out of said deck here, WWF. I have not seen the answers, so I will hold them up and I will showcase them and we will go through them one by one. Each person gets a point for a correct answer. If they're, we're going to go around and then I'll give the answer afterwards. So we're going to kick this one off. Again, I have not seen the answers. I picked these out at random and they are old school. So we'll kick it off here. First question. Where did the October 1995 In Your House take place? Winnipeg, Orlando, or Los Angeles? Johnny, you are first. Your guess.
I'm gonna go Winnipeg.
Winnipeg. All right. Danny.
Winnipeg as well.
Winnipeg. All right. I'm going to go with Orlando. And the answer is I have to move it up slowly because I haven't seen it. It is Winnipeg. Man, I should have known because Winnipeg was on last week's cards and I didn't get it. So I should have known. All right.
I just immediately thought of Brett 95, and I was like, it's probably.
Fair enough. All right. At the 1993 SummerSlam, who did Jim Cornette manage? The Heavenly Bodies, the Head Shrinkers, or Owen and the Bulldog? This is the 1993 SummerSlam. Danny, sorry.
I'm gonna go Heavenly Bodies.
Johnny?
I'll go Owen.
I am going to go with the Head Shrinkers. The answer is the Heavenly Bodies.
Yeah, I was between the two. Damn.
Great job. Great. I wanted to go Heavenly Bodies only because I think that's one of the very few pay-per-views that they actually got to be on because they were busy killing people with their finisher. All right. At the 1990 SummerSlam, Tito Santana's opponent was Shawn Michaels, the Warlord, or Hercules. And I will give my first answer is the Warlord. Johnny?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Warlord as well.
Okay. Danny?
I'm gonna go HB Shizzle.
Okay, well, that's obviously not correct because he's still in a tag team. And it is the Warlord. All right, we're coming back, Johnny. I can feel it. Well, you're already in the lead. I got to stop you now. All right. At WrestleMania 3, Greg Valentine and Brutus Beefcake were accompanied by whom? There is no multiple choice.
Oh, geez.
So, Johnny, you're first.
WrestleMania 3 was the Celebrity Mania. What came out with them? Oh man, I have no idea.
Any wild guesses?
I'm trying to think of who the celebrities that were there. I have no idea.
All right. Well, you can come back. What do you got, Danny? You got a guess? No, Danny's like, you're not getting a bar. You don't. Sorry, Johnny, you lost your point. Danny has evicted you from a point. You know what? And just to do him one better, so we go full around the horn, he loses a point too for not guessing.
I'm gonna go just Sydney Lauper, just because of the time period and.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Jimmy Hart. And the answer is, oh man, we were all wrong. Dino Bravo.
Oh,
Well, because they were, so I knew that they were bad guys. That's why I said Jimmy Hart because they were the dream team back then. So, all right, and they actually lose to the British Bulldogs. All right, in 1975, who was Blackjack Mulligan's tag team championship partner?
1975.
All right, I'll go first, and I'm gonna say Blackjack Lanza.
You can count me in for that as well.
Okay.
God, was Double A wrestling yet?
No, no, and he was a tag team champion in 75, so no.
You lost me in the 70s.
Okay, all right. The answer is Blackjack Lanza, as I mentioned. So there you go. I'll put those in the video as well. Kind of a fun one. I do get a point there. Danny, you do not get a point because you didn't know. I'm sorry. Because you didn't absolutely know. You were just like, he's right. I'm just going to put that down.
But okay, no, time out. If you were wrong and I was wrong, I still.
All right, I'll give you a point. It's a tie ball game. Going into the fun rounds, it's a tie ball game. All right. That was a good one. So that's trivia time for those keeping score at home. And we are on to the next one. This is One Has to Go. So I picked the best of the best, and you got to get rid of one of them as it never existed. The other three still get to hang, but one of them no longer exists. With that being said, this week it is WrestleMania main events. Last week I did WrestleManias as a whole. This is just the main events. So, top left, it is the Iron Man match, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. WrestleMania 12. WrestleMania 14 is Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels. Bottom left is Daniel Bryan, the Yes Movement over Triple H and Batista. Bottom right is the greatest heist of all time, Seth Rollins over Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. So, one has to go. Johnny, one has to go. Which one are you getting rid of?
It's easy. Seth.
Wow, okay.
Seth Rollins is going. WrestleMania 14, my first WrestleMania that I watched live, and one of the best WrestleManias in my opinion of all time.
Yep.
Austin HBK's got to stay. Brett, favorite wrestler of all time. The Iron Man match is goated. Those two are goated, so got to keep that. Daniel Bryan, that was a moment I think.
Yep.
A lot of wrestling fans kind of came back around that time because it's just Daniel Bryan was so over, and everyone kind of knew he was going to win. It was just such a big moment. I think you have to just go with it. The Seth, I mean, I'm raising my hand up if you could see it. I'm a Roman guy, so carry him with it. And
I've never been more disappointed than you had me at the other goated, and now you've lost a point. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Wow, what a terrible response. I don't know if you can see my God, you are the worst. Yeah, the rest of these clowns. No, that's good. Okay, so he's getting rid of Seth. Fair enough. One has to go, Seth. Danny, I'm going to let you give your answer. One has to go.
This is easy. Daniel Bryan.
Okay.
He's got to go.
Okay.
I mean, it was the Yes Movement was massive at that, couple month period.
Yep.
His reign after was lackluster. He kept getting hurt, never recovered. Goes to AEW. He's not even featured as the guy in AEW. And I get it. It's
Scorching hot take over here by the boy.
Well, that's fine. Come at me. Everyone can at me. I don't give a shit. Bring it. But
I'll tell you what not to do. Do not at Filth Bomb Wrestling. If you would specifically like to judge Danny, just do at DTank_2.
yeah, please.
All right. So you're getting rid of Daniel Bryan, not a Daniel Bryan guy. Okay.
No, I mean, but when you look at Seth Rollins, that was also an incredible moment, right?
Yeah.
He makes history by cashing in at WrestleMania, and he's done much more with his career from that point on than what Daniel Bryan did from that point on. So, Seth Rollins becomes the architect. He's multi-time champion. He gets to where he is now. I think Seth Rollins is probably the most underappreciated wrestler in WWE. The guy has been constantly evolving his gimmick, constantly changing with.
I agree.
He's always been there, never hurt, always shows up, can feud beginning of the card, middle of the card, end of the card. And not to say Daniel Bryan can't, but Seth Rollins' after the fact moment was much better than Daniel Bryan's.
I agree. That's a great succinct response, and you didn't throw up a 1, so you get to keep all your points. Good job.
Thank you so much.
I am going to also get rid of Daniel Bryan, and I'll tell you, WrestleMania 12. I remember watching it with my family. My sister was a huge Bret Hart fan. At that point, I was like 8 years old, so my brother and sister were a little bit older, but I was still watching pretty religiously, and that Iron Man match was unbelievable, and I just love that one. 14, Stone Cold winning the Tyson deal, that was amazing, and then Shawn Michaels disappears for 4 years, right? To a certain extent, I mean, he's doing the GM thing, but what a great run WWE went on at that point. And Seth Rollins, the greatest heist. I didn't watch that pay-per-view again until I played it during WWE's showcase on the game. Man, and I was like, damn, I gotta rewatch this thing because this was a bad. And then I was like, that is electric. Him, the title, around the whole deal. That was a big, big, big feeling, right? Seth winning and his run afterwards again as the architect and all that stuff, the greatest heist. So I thought that was incredible, and what a great finish to neither Brock nor Roman win. So what a great end to Mania. And the Daniel Bryan thing, yeah, I agree. It's like it was a cool moment. It was an electric pay per view as a whole. But yeah, without I mean, it's not like I cared as much. You know what I mean at that point. So for me, that was the one that was if I had to choose one to go, it was going to be WrestleMania 30. Johnny, any last? You can try to gain a point back. Anything you want to say?
Yeah, I can understand the Seth. I mean, Seth has been incredible since that run. I think it really solidified him after the whole Shield
Yeah,
thing. He was kind of someone that you were afraid may get lost in the fact that they were in a faction, but it really solidified him as a singles guy. And um, I was happy to see him. When I'm a Seth Rollins fan myself.
yeah. I think he's. Danny said the right thing, right? He just continues to change and get better and evolve, and it's just unbelievable what he's done as a character after starting what he started as. So
And I think he's someone that while everyone else was always rumored of going to AEW or Japan or wherever, he was always like the stalwart at WWE. He's the guy, and
yep,
he's showing it now. So
agreed. All right. Well, we talked about the best of the best. Now you get the best of the worst, and you gotta keep one. Unfortunately, you have to keep one. These are fun just because I pretty much hate like a lot of these things equally. So it's fun to have to pick one that you have to see over and over again. And it is worst gimmick matches. So, best of the worst, you gotta keep one gimmick matches. Top left is the Wii ladder match. Top right is Viagra on a pole match. Bottom left is the blindfold match. And bottom right is Judy Bagwell on a forklift match. Those are your choices, and you gotta keep one. So this is surprisingly easy, but I thought we would talk about them all. I'm gonna go with blindfold match, obviously, because I thought that was kind of fun when I was a kid when I watched it on VHS. After the fact, I obviously didn't watch it live, but a pretty cool, just like funny thing. And I've seen it later on, and it's kind of corny as you get older. But when you're younger, you're like, oh, and the kids are yelling, right? Like, oh, he's there, there, there. Like you're getting warm or whatever. I thought that was really cool. So if I had to keep one, it would be the blindfold match. The other three are quite literally the worst things in professional wrestling. I don't get the midget wrestling thing at all, and I'm not. I don't know what they're. It's still called micro wrestling. I guess it's called now, right?
Yeah.
I can't. I can't do it. I just don't like it at all. And the on a pole stuff, man, Vince Russo was really, really bad at that point. He was like trying to be good. It just wasn't creative. It wasn't even like a creative idea. Coal miner's glove on a pole match is the first thing I remember. Because I watched that Halloween Havoc over and over again on VHS too. And I got that idea, but I didn't get the other stuff. And the Judy Bagwell on a pole, I put that on there because Marcus Bagwell's Dark Side of the Ring was on last week, so I thought that was relevant as well. But yeah, got to keep one. I'm keeping the blindfold match. Danny, what about you, man?
I think you two probably know where I'm gonna go. And for those who are listening, everyone knows I'm a fan of the good old male enhancement.
All right.
I am keeping Viagra on a pole.
I'm giving him 3 points for that just right off the rip. This episode is currently sponsored by
Blue Chew.
I wish I had a good steamroll that Conrad does into the Blue Chew ads, but I do not, unfortunately.
Realistically, I would probably agree with you that the blindfold match, just because like we've seen the blindfold ish mask since, so they've done it multiple times. Like you could still make it relevant today, where someone has a disadvantage and they got to throw a mask. Like
Right.
that makes sense. I am a fan of Hornswoggle, so WLC I would have loved to have kept just because in talking to him, he's a great dude. So, but just for my own bias, you always got to be ready for the moment, and what better moment than to grab the
Man, do you find it hard to focus? Boy, can I get you hard. Unbelievable. All right, good take, Johnny. What about you, man? You got some work to do. We're behind in the count right now. What do you got?
I'm going Judy Bagwell on a pole match.
Okay, God, I'm gonna give you points for taking it, but
So that it's such a weird thing. Like that represents such a bad but nostalgic time of WCW for me.
yeah,
WCW, I was always such a huge fan.
same. I'm a big WCW guy.
Eventually, things with Vince Russo took a turn for the worse, and it just the creative wasn't there. And I think that is a really good representative of that era. Matches like that where just like shit made no sense and just like things were happening was just so cringe and it represents an era of wrestling. The late '90s, early 2000s WCW was like that was a thing, and
Yeah,
I think what was it, Canyon, Chris Canyon.
yeah, positively Canyon. Who better than Canyon?
So I could still hear him saying, and I could still see. I mean, it's such a bad era of wrestling, but for me, it was just like that was the peak fandom for me.
Yeah, same.
And
Yeah.
it's nostalgic.
I think the thing about the crazy thing about WCW is like they had guys that I just loved. Like during that time, even though they were so bad, they still had Candido, Shane Douglas, Bam Bam, DDP. Canyon is look. Everybody could say whatever. He was the innovator of offense. He was unbelievable, right? He could wrestle circles around a lot of people. He created a lot of cool shit. More the flatliner. The first time I saw the flatliner, mind blown. I thought that was the coolest finisher when he did that. So, yeah, man, I agree. The nostalgic thing for that. I just was like, how can WCW have like TV writers be so bad? Like, just be like, hey, this is a good idea, right? Like this, everybody makes fun of the Scott Steiner bringing out a tiger. I thought that was cool, but like the other stuff that happened around it was so bad. I'm like, what are we doing here? I am redoing on PJ Plays PS5, my TikTok, for my video game habit. I am doing a what if I was the head booker to save WCW on WWE 2K. So I've got this cool fictional roster of WCW guys that had left. Maybe I could bring them back doing this cool thing. We got this updated WCW Nitro segment as well. So kind of cool stuff. But yeah, man, I love WCW too. That during that time they had a lot of opportunities. I think they just missed the boat.
I'm actually currently in the middle of a watch back. So I started in '96.
Dude, I started I'm during the Nitro watch back now. I started at 1.
Yep. And I'm like just about at Starcade with Hogan and Piper.
Okay.
And it's so funny that there are certain things that I thought was so good and so cool back then.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, that is just cringe now.
Absolute dog shit.
It's so different, but I love it.
Unbelievable. Well, he took me at the end, right, where he's doing a watch back. Sorry, Danny. So your world champ for today is Johnny Tanc, the Card Foundation pod. Johnny, you got 60 seconds to give us your spiel, whether it be a promo or whatever you want. You got to give us the spiel. It's on you. Hit us with it.
Well, this is an amazing experience. Thank you, PJ, for bringing me on, man. This. I hope it's not the last time. I hope I get to come back and flex on Danny a little bit. And
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
This is I love the idea of the show. PTI was always,
Yeah.
I grew up watching, and this is a dream of mine was always to have that final set, that final 60 seconds to kind of gloat and talk about how amazing I am with wrestling knowledge and everything like that. So,
Yeah, coming from the guy, who did he try to tell me Double A was the tag team partner of Blackjack Bullshit?
they were definitely rough.
That's good stuff.
But just to throw a plug in there, Card Foundation Pod. If you're into wrestling cards, each and every Thursday, new episodes. We're loosely about the cards. We're talking a little bit more about wrestling now. We're kind of getting into other things. We're bringing in friends to hang out with us now each and every week. So if you're into it, Thursdays, Apple Podcasts.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on, man. Today is brought to you by my brand new single, Never Thought Twice, comes out tonight. I am the PJ North on all socials. This is Around the Mat Pod. We've got the Filth Bomb Wrestling crew below. Check out their podcast, The Card Foundation. I'm big fans. Thank you guys so much for doing this. If you're watching again live on YouTube on Friday, thank you so much. If you're watching on Twitch right now, love y'all. Appreciate you guys watching us. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, give us a 5-star review and tell us how much you love Danny's Blue Chew ad. Maybe they'll call us up and sponsor us. We could use the ad money. But this is Around the Mat, and we will be back next week as we again are on the road to WrestleMania. We are just 2 short weeks away, and when we hit week 10, we will be in Philadelphia. And I can't wait to do live pod with the boys. So, again, Around the Mat Pod, wherever you get them, hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Until next time, see y'all.